to eastern and southern Kentucky. This is WYMT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, a state trooper is recovering in the hospital after being shot in the leg. Another man is dead after exchanging shots with troopers who were trying to serve a search warrant. WYMT's Will Puckett has the latest from All School Road in the Bonhaming community of Perry County.
When they arrived to the residence that they were serving that search warrant on, they recognized two individuals run into a separate house on the opposite side of the road from where they were serving that search warrant. As state police were doing what they were up there to do, they were also having their attention paid to the two people who had ran inside the home. They went over there to turn their full attention to there, and that's when they recognized a gentleman with a gun. They asked him to put his gun down, and that is when the two started to exchange fire.
From that point, a trooper and a deputy who were on the other side of the residence encountered these same two individuals, and they too gave commands for the individual to drop the firearm, at which time there was an exchange of gunfire. One of the troopers there was injured by gunfire, and then the individual there at the residence was later pronounced deceased.
Now, state police would not speculate on how often they receive calls in this area. We did talk to a couple of people who did not want to go on camera for fear for their safety, saying that up in this specific area is notorious for some sort of criminal activity, most notoriously drugs. In Perry County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
Fortunately, the trooper that was shot is expected to fully recover. A southern Kentucky store was the scene of acts of vandalism and at least one break-in between Sunday night and this morning. A Family Dollar store in Laurel County was burglarized after police say thieves shot out a window, and police believe the vandals came back a second time the next day. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more from Laurel County.
The Family Dollar here in the Greenmount community of Laurel County was closed a good part of Tuesday while the investigation continues into what may be two separate break-ins 2 nights in a row where thieves used a gun to shoot out 2 different windows. Police believe that it was sometime after midnight, possibly around 2 or 3 Monday morning, when someone shot out a window, then got inside to steal money. Then on Tuesday morning before opening, someone again fired another shot at another window and damaged it. Closed signs were put up while police investigated. Potential customers were all turned away. Family Dollar is one of the few stores in the rural area near the Laurel-Jackson County line. People say these crimes are very unusual for their area.
I've lived here, like I said, since 1971, and we've never had anything like that happen before. It's a very small community, and we all know each other, and there's never been any crime or anything like that in years.
During the first break-in, police say there was an undisclosed amount of cash taken. Police are still trying to figure out exactly what happened with the second break-in. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
Police say there was no surveillance video of either incident.
Well, today has just been absolutely gorgeous outside. If you haven't had a chance to get out, I definitely recommend doing so this evening. It's going to be very, very comfortable out there. You'll notice as we take a look at a few of those cameras, you'll see sunshine throughout the day, looking at US 119 and US 23 over into Jenkins, and even looking into downtown Whitesburg, dealing with a few high clouds here and there. But overall, it's just feeling absolutely amazing outside. Today, we were dry throughout the day, something we probably haven't seen or we're not really used to. A few clouds starting to creep back into the forecast. We'll see more clouds increase as we head into the overnight hours. But check out the temperatures, upper 60s to lower 70s. Those dew points very, very dry, so it's actually feeling like the upper 60s to lower 70s. So today is also National Corn on the Cob Day, so I recommend getting out and grilling. And if you are right now right around 70 degrees, and if you're going to wait a little bit later, right around 6 o'clock, still comfortable temperatures. A little bit cooler as you head into the later evening hours and that sun starts to set, but overall it's just a great evening and sadly, we're going to see that go away as we head into tomorrow. Showers and storms return for your Wednesday, another cooler day as we head into your Thursday, but it's setting up for a pretty nice Friday. Weekend is not looking too bad either. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up in just a few short minutes.
All right, definitely a great night to grill out. Thank you, Paige. Mi San Felipe, a Mexican food restaurant in the Caney area of Pike County, burned down this morning. The Shelby Valley Volunteer Fire Department responded to a call around 5:30 a.m. when someone noticed flames coming from the restaurant. Frequent customers say this is not just a loss for the owners, but the community.
There's not many places like Mi San Felipe around here. You have to drive either 20 miles north or 20 miles south for really good, stable food. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. Inspectors were on the roof of a New York City Manhattan skyscraper this morning after a helicopter crashed there, killing the pilot. The helicopter took off from a heliport on the East River and is thought to have been heading to its base in New Jersey. Instead, it crashed 11 minutes later. At the time, it was raining heavily and visibility was poor. The helicopter was traveling within restricted airspace around Trump Tower, where no aircraft is allowed below 3,000 feet.
We're resilient, we're strong, we're courageous. We should not be afraid.
Pilot Tim McCormack had 15 years of flying experience. Sources say McCormack radioed that he was in trouble before the crash. He was also a volunteer fire chief in New York's Hudson Valley for 10 years. Former Daily Show host Jon Stewart blasted Congress today for its low attendance at a September 11th Victims Fund hearing. Only a handful of lawmakers were there. At times, you can hear Stewart's voice wavering. Take a listen.
And these men and women and their response to it is what brought our country back. It's what gave a reeling nation a solid foundation to stand back upon, to remind us of why this country is great, of why this country is worth fighting for. And you are ignoring them. And you can end it tomorrow. Why this bill isn't unanimous consent and a standalone issue is beyond my comprehension. And I have yet to hear a reasonable explanation for why.
Meanwhile, officials in New York identified another victim yesterday from the 9/11 terror attacks. The medical examiner's office is not releasing the victim's name, but says the remains recovered in 2013 belonged to a man. DNA testing was used to confirm his identity. 40% of the people reported missing after the World Trade Center towers collapsed still are not identified. This marks the first time a new victim was identified since July. In all, 2,753 people were reported missing at the site after September 11th. No remains have been found for more than 1,100 victims. House Democrats are pushing ahead with a vote to enforce congressional subpoenas, which the Trump administration has defied. The House is preparing to vote on a civil contempt resolution that would allow committees to sue the Trump administration and enforce congressional subpoenas. If passed, the House would be authorized to make its case in court that Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn must turn over documents and testify before Congress. The White House has instructed them and others not to comply with congressional subpoenas.
The entire caucus is very committed to making sure that we hold this administration accountable.
You're seeing on the floor again this week Speaker Pelosi wasting her majority on presidential harassment rather than focusing on the priorities of the American people.
This morning, President Donald Trump tweeted, quote, "presidential harassment." Set over to Wall Street now this Tuesday afternoon. The Dow closes down today more than 14 points. Family members say a shark may have bitten a teenager in the water off Ocean Isle Beach in North Carolina yesterday afternoon. The victim's brothers say 19-year-old Austin Reed was surfing with a friend when he felt a bite on his foot similar to a dog bite. His friend helped him get back to shore and he was taken to New Hanover Regional Medical Center in an ambulance. His grandmother described the injury as a deep tooth bite on his foot, but says he is expected to be okay.
He said, "Yo, I got bit by a shark," and Austin was wanting to goof around a lot, so Tyler thought he was just kidding. And then he looked at his foot and realized he wasn't, so they got on Tyler's board and he brought him in.
And I guess he really nonchalantly was like, "Yeah, I got bit by a shark," and it was like, "What?" And then they saw the blood and stuff. He's all right.
The brothers say they've been surfing for years, and this does not discourage them from getting back into the water. Straight ahead on First at 4, the city of Boston honors David Ortiz, the former Red Sox player who was shot over the weekend. Family and friends are hoping for a speedy recovery.
And another system looks to make its way into the mountains for your Wednesday. I'll have a look at that full forecast coming up.